Okay, let's unpack this. Sometimes the grand sweep of history doesn't really come alive in the big textbooks, you know? It's more in the small, vivid details of one person's story. And that's exactly what we're doing today. We're starting a deep dive into the life of Elgin Strahm. He was a young man from Sabetha, Kansas, and his incredible journey through World War II, well, it's been illuminated for us by this amazing collection of local newspaper clippings, official military records, and some really, really poignant letters from his comrades.
It's quite remarkable, isn't it, how these um, seemingly scattered fragments let us build such a rich, kind of nuanced portrait of a life.
Yeah.
Our mission here isn't just to list facts. We want to understand the character, the journey, and really the lasting impact of Elgin Strom.
Yeah.
This is a powerful example of how one person's story can sort of ripple through time. It gives us this deeply personal window into a specific, crucial moment in history. Those old newspaper articles, the letters home, they're the threads that really weave this intimate narrative together.
So Elgin Strom's story kicks off right there in Sabetha, Kansas. He was born January 3, 1919. And from everything we've read, he was just deeply rooted in his community, a truly community-spirited young man, as the sources say.
Mm-hmm.
We see him active in local young Republican groups, his congregational Sunday school and church, the Junior Chamber of Commerce.
Really involved.
Totally. The sources consistently mention he loved life and lived a happy, useful 25 years, brought a lot of happiness to his family and friends. You just get this really strong sense of a vibrant, engaged person, making his mark right there at home.
And that community connection, that deep engagement, was about to be tested in a really profound way. If we place this in the context of early 1942, there's this article from the Courier Tribune, March 2nd. It actually lists Elgin Strom as about to be inducted.
Wow. Okay.
And this was such a pivotal moment for the whole country. I mean, even though people were bracing for war, the quick fall of the Bataan Peninsula in the Philippines.
Right. It was huge.
It really was. Many thought it could hold out longer. It just shattered hopes for a short war. It pushed public concern, deeper, made the reality of this global conflict hit home hard for communities like Sabetha.
Absolutely. So you can almost imagine the scene then. April 13th, 1942. Elgin was part of a group, 19 more young men from Nemaha County, called to the service of Uncle Sam. The Corning Gazette and the Courier Tribune both covered it. They described this royal send-off by their friends and relatives.
A big community event.
Yeah, complete with a fitting farewell program on Main Street.
Yeah.
You can almost feel that mix of pride and, well, apprehension in that small town. Cheers mixed with maybe silent fears as they watched their loved ones leave. It must have been incredibly emotional, right? A moment just etched into the town's memory.
It really paints a vivid picture of a nation mobilizing. And the sheer speed with which these young men were transitioned into military life is pretty striking. Elgin's training progression shows just how fast people were moved into critical roles. So we see him in May 1942. He's Private Elgin Strom at Camp Robinson, Arkansas. Until by July, still a private, but now at Camp Edwards, Massachusetts. He's with the 592nd Engineer Boat Regiment. Spent some time at Camp Carabel, Florida, too. Then, remarkably, by December 23rd, 1942, he's Sergeant Elgin Strom. He's actually home from Fort Ord, California, visiting his parents.
That's fast.
Incredibly fast. And just a month later, January 20, 1943, he gets promoted again to Staff Sergeant, somewhere in the South Pacific. I mean, that's a really quick ascent through the ranks. What does that kind of rapid progression tell us, especially in a specialized unit like the Engineering Amphibian Boat Service during the early Pacific War?
That's a great question. And what's really interesting is how the sources directly speak to that, to his abilities. They state he advanced rapidly in his work and had attained the highest non-commissioned rank in the Engineering Amphibian Boat Service. So this wasn't just any role. It was clearly demanding, requiring, exceptional qualities and leadership.
Exactly. The Engineering Amphibian Boat Service was described as one of the most effective of Army services, but also,
Sure.
yes, among the most daring and dangerous. These were the guys getting troops and vital equipment onto contested beaches, often under fire. And then they had to build the initial stuff to hold those beachheads. It demanded, quote, the most exacting type of work at the most delicate moment of any offensive. So yeah, reaching Staff Sergeant in that kind of work was a clear indication of his ability, courage, and leadership. It was a high-stakes frontline role where every single decision mattered intensely.
That rapid rise, the dangerous nature of his job, it really speaks volumes about his character and skill, doesn't it? And it wasn't long before those qualities were put to the ultimate test. Elgin deployed, arrived in Australia in March 43, then New Guinea in May. The sources confirm he saw action there. Tragically, his story reaches its end on July 1st, 1943, in Moro, Papua New Guinea. That's confirmed by official notices and later memorial records.
The initial news. It came via telegram from the Secretary of War. It reached his parents on Tuesday morning, July 13th, 1943. It extended deepest sympathy in the loss of your son, Staff Sergeant Elgin A. Strahm, confirming he was killed in action on July 1st in the Southwest Pacific area.
Hmm.
That lag in notification, from July 1st to the 13th, that was unfortunately just a grim reality of wartime communication. Families were left in this agonizing suspense.
Oh, absolutely. But the really deep understanding of Elgin's final moments and just the kind of man he was, that doesn't just come from the official reports. It comes from these incredibly personal letters sent home by his comrades. It's in their words that we truly grasp the impact he had, not just back home, but on the men he served alongside. It's so clear from these letters he was loved as much by his associates in the army as at home. These aren't just facts, they're like glimpses into the heart of his character.
And those letters offer such vivid, poignant details. They give us a real window into that harrowing night. Corporal Alfred Smith, described as a former Brown County boy from Kansas, so a direct connection back to Elgin's home turf.
Right, that connection is important.
It is. He wrote that Elgin's death was quick and painless, not on the sea, but on the beach. He specifically added he was not mangled or crashed in any way. Smith also wrote that Elgin was buried by his friends in a pretty flower-scented coconut grove.
Wow.
And Corporal Smith also detailed Elgin's heroism during what he called a difficult landing in a severe storm. Apparently, it led to the destruction of multiple landing craft. He praised Elgin's tireless efforts to regroup stranded men and lead them to safety. And tragically, Elgin died while guiding his men through darkness under sniper fire.
Just incredible bravery.
Absolutely. And Sergeant Claude W. Powell echoed this. He wrote, "He was the best staff sergeant we had in our company." Powell continued, "The men would all obey Elgin and do things for him because he would treat them with respect, and he always had a cheerful word for them." Quote, "Our regiment has lost a very valuable man in Elgin. He was leading a group of men the night of his death, like the leader he was when death struck." End quote. He also added, "He died in seconds. He had no suffering to go through, as some of his fellow men." Which must have been some small comfort, perhaps.
A small comfort in unimaginable circumstances.
And then Sergeant Gordon Johnson added his own testament. He said, "His passing was deeply felt by the men and officers of the company. He will long be remembered by the men of the company as a fine leader, a first-class soldier, and a good friend to everyone." So these accounts, they consistently paint this picture of Elgin as always being cheerful and considerate. A man whose character, they even noted, was clearly shaped by, quote, "wonderful home training."
Those incredible acts of leadership, that courage, certainly didn't go unnoticed, did they? They were formally recognized. For instance, Elgin Strahm was posthumously awarded the Bronze Star Medal. That's one of the highest military decorations for valor, specifically for his exceptional heroism that night.
Right. And the official citation for the Bronze Star, it gives that precise, formal account of the extraordinary courage his comrades witnessed firsthand. It sort of solidifies their personal stories into the military record, it reads. "For heroic achievement in connection with military operations against the enemy, Strahm was assistant wave leader in the initial landing. After all craft were wrecked in the mountainous surf and all possible salvage accomplished, he assisted his commanding officer in establishing a perimeter defense of the beach."
So he stepped up immediately.
Immediately. When the officer was killed, Strahm continued the preparation and gallantly directed the defense against the enemy attacks until he was killed.
Yeah.
And crucially, his organization of the perimeter was sufficient to secure the beachhead against the night-long counterattacks. It's incredible to hear those words, to try and visualize the sheer scale of courage needed in that moment, that kind of steadfast leadership, holding a line under relentless attack.
It's almost unimaginable. And beyond the battlefield heroism, we also get this deeply personal glimpse into Elgin's spiritual side, his reflections. Apparently, he chose Ephesians 6.12 as a sermon text. He told some comrades that it wouldn't hurt anyone just to sit down and read the 10th to the 13th verses from the 6th chapter of Ephesians. Not only read it, but think about it a little.
That specific passage.
Yeah.
It's about putting on the whole armor of God, about steadfastness.
Exactly. And that powerful passage was then read at his memorial service back home. It really gives us a profound sense of the inner life, the inner strength of this incredibly brave young man.
That choice of scripture really does highlight a man of profound conviction, someone seeking strength beyond just the immediate conflict. And back home, the community mourned him deeply. Memorial services were held in Sabetha October 31st and November 3rd, 1943. The reports say the Christian Apostolic Church was crowded with relatives and friends who wished to pay tribute. The American Legion was there too, sitting together as a group. So this wasn't just a family grieving in isolation, it was an entire community expressing this profound loss and respect. It really shows the lasting impact his sacrifice had on everyone who knew him.
His final resting place. Initially, that flower-scented coconut grove that Corporal Smith describes so lovingly eventually became Lae, New Guinea. He's also recognized on the tablet of the missing at the Manila American Cemetery and Memorial, a lasting tribute for those lost without a known grave.
And his impact and, the war's reach, it extended beyond just his immediate family circle. He was survived by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ed B. Strahm, four brothers, Silas, Orville, Leland, Milam, and four sisters, Mrs. Lee Wenger, Mrs. Lewis Wenger, Mrs. Roy Alderfer, Mrs. Harry Wary. That's a testament to those large, close-knit families you often saw
That
then.
big family, yeah.
And it's also noted that no fewer than 11 of his cousins were also in the service at the time. It just underscores the family's broad, deeply personal contribution to the war effort. His story is one vital thread, isn't it, in a much, much larger tapestry of sacrifice from that generation.
And what a thread it is. We've just gone through this deep dive into the life of Elgin Strahm, Staff Sergeant, Bronze Star recipient from Sabetha, Kansas. We've seen how one individual story, painstakingly pieced together from these vivid sources, it isn't just some historical footnote, not at all. It's a powerful narrative. Character, duty, sacrifice, all painted with these enduring colors of community, camaraderie, and just astonishing courage.
Absolutely. And the enduring power of Elgin's story, revealed in all these details, it really does feel like what one source called a sermon that lives on.
Mm.
Not just for his loved ones or his community back then, but for us today, I think. It's such a powerful reminder of the immense personal bravery shown when facing overwhelming odds, those deep bonds forged in combat, and the enduring memory of those who made the supreme sacrifice. It really compels us to reflect on the human cost and the incredible spirit individuals showed rising to the challenges of wartime.
So here's something to think about. In our own lives today, how do we honor those quiet acts of courage, that steadfast leadership, that profound community spirit, the kind of things that might not make national headlines, but really define the fabric of our own worlds? How do the echoes of these deeply personal histories, like Elgin Strahm's, shape our present understanding of commitment and sacrifice, even all these decades later?